What's up, y'all? I said, what's up, y'all? Look at me when I'm talking to you, bro. Nah, I'm just messing with y'all, man. This is your boy Knockout Boxing 86 TV, and we in here. So check this out, y'all. Before we get going on our video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, share the video, turn on your notification, and follow me on Twitter at KOBoxing86TV. And if you have a breakdown or a prediction video you want me to do, knockoutboxing86@yahoo.com is the email address. And please go over to Twitter and follow me on Twitter at KOBoxing86TV. And if you have a breakdown or a prediction you want me to do, knockoutboxing86@yahoo.com is the email address. And please check out our live shows. We go live 3 times a week, man. Every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, we live discussing the hottest topics in boxing. Every Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, we live breaking down and predicting all the upcoming fights for that weekend. And then every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, we live recapping all the action from that weekend with KQKC Boxing Network. And then also discussing the hottest topics in boxing on that show as well. But let's get it popping. So, Canelo Alvarez, what's up, man? I thought we was getting an announcement this week. It's already Thursday. So I need to know who he fighting. That's what we talking about in this video. And let me go ahead and set the record straight, because I want y'all to understand the standard that I'm holding this man to in the fights that I will be okay with, that I want to see, and who I think it might be. So, first of all, I'm happy that Laguna Beach Macadamia Nut look like he off the table. No disrespect to Ilunga Makabu, but that ain't a good fight. And he fighting his mandatory, so seem like that's off the board. But we know Canelo want to get it popping May 7th. Cinco de Mayo weekend, that's when he going to get it popping. Who is next is the question, right? I'm going to tell y'all right now. Canelo Alvarez could fight Joe Smith Jr., Artur Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol, Zurdo Ramirez, David Benavidez, Jamal Charlo, or Demetrius Andrade, and I'd be okay with it. Any of those fighters. So that's what? Andrade, Charlo, Benavidez, Bivol, Beterbiev, Joe Smith Jr. That's 6 fights. I don't think that's unreasonable, bro. Any of those 6 fights, you won't hear me criticize them whatsoever. And let me explain to you why. Because some of those do come with caveats, right? For Beterbiev and Bivol, there's no caveats. With Joe Smith Jr., though, if he fights Joe Smith Jr. next, I'm telling y'all right now, yes, he the weakest champion. But if you fight Joe Smith Jr. next, and then his fight after that, I'm going to give him a mulligan. I'll be like, all right, he fighting Joe Smith Jr. I'm going to wait to see what he do later on in the year. If he fight Joe Smith Jr. and his next fight is Dimitri Bivol, then you can't really shit on the Joe Smith Jr. fight, because now he making an undisputed run, a unified run. If he fight Joe Smith Jr. and his next fight is Artur Beterbiev, then you can't get mad at him for fighting Joe Smith Jr. because, again, he on his way to a unification fight. You know, and then obviously you can't criticize Beterbiev or Bivol because they both are considered to be the top 2 in the division, whatever you want to pick them. Although Joe Smith Jr. is probably considered the weaker, not as skilled as the other 2 fighters, and probably if you had to pick who the weakest champion at 175 was, you'd pick Joe Smith Jr. I'm not gonna criticize him for fighting a champion in Joe Smith Jr., assuming what he does next. Now, if he fight Joe Smith Jr., because I want to be clear with y'all. If he fight Joe Smith Jr., and then he do that up and down, she then like, all right, Makabu won, now I'm finna go up here and fight Makabu. Now we got a problem. Now I'm criticizing that fight. Now I'm like, all right, bro, what you doing? Why you going up here to fight Makabu after you done fought Joe Smith Jr.? So that fight right there, I give it a pass. I be like, all right, bro, that's cool. You fighting Joe Smith Jr., you want to turn up for Cinco de Mayo. Then I know Mexican Independence September, maybe you going to give us Beterbiev or Bivol or some shit. So I'm in wait-and-see mode with that specific fight. Jamal Charlo is the other realistic option, in my opinion. Those, to me, are the top 2 people I think we might see Canelo in the ring with next. And let me say this about Jamal Charlo. People been calling for this fight for a very long time. And I'm going to go on record and I'm going to say I love this fight. I think it's a great fight. And no excuses will be given, nor should they be given, for Jamal Charlo or Canelo Alvarez. I don't want to hear any excuses, okay? If Jamal Charlo beats Canelo Alvarez, I don't want to hear shit from Canelo fans. If Canelo Alvarez washes Jamal Charlo, I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear nothing about him bringing Jamal Charlo up. I don't want to hear nothing about him waiting Jamal Charlo out. I don't want to hear nothing about him waiting for Jamal Charlo to look undisciplined. I don't want to hear nothing about Jamal Charlo coming off of a bad performance against Montiel. I don't want to hear none of that shit. It's a great fight, and Canelo Alvarez is not responsible for another grown man. First of all, as a professional, should nobody be able to wait you out? You should always be ready, and you should be in control of your career. Seemed like to me, he was waiting Canelo out. Straight up and down. If you really want my real opinion on it, Canelo been doing his own thing. Jamal the one been waiting. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear that shit. The whole moving Jamal Charlo up to 168 for the fight. Listen, you want big fights. You have an opportunity to stay at 160 and fight Andre. You could have been did that shit. You could have did that shit a while ago, homie. But you done turned down that fight every chance. Every time somebody put a microphone in your mouth, you done turned down. You done turned down fighting Demetrius Andrade. So who are we to be like, ah, man, Canelo pulling him up? Well, shit, Jamal don't want to fight nobody at 160. So him moving up to 168, shit, he don't have to. He could fight Demetrius Andrade. Easy. Easy peasy if you want to stay at 160. But him moving up to 168, Jamal Charlo's huge. 168 might be an even better division for him. He been at fucking 160 for 4.5 years, damn near 5 years. And if you know anything about boxing, when people start getting 30 or whatever, the more and more you cut weight, it wears on you. So he probably been at the damn weight class too long, if you ask me. He should have been moved up. He should have took care of business at 160 and been moved up a couple years ago at least. So there's no excuse. He big, he's strong. The extra 8 pounds will be good for him. He will be a stronger, more filled out, more hydrated version of himself. When you walk around from 190 to 200 pounds, it's a lot easier and a lot better for your body to cut to 168 than it is to cut to 160. Cutting less weight will work out in his favor and in his advantage, so that will not be an excuse. The discipline shit, the drinking, the partying, you know, waiting on him to look bad, that's on him, bro. Like, ain't nobody responsible for what that man do outside the ring, inside the ring. It's a grown-ass man. It's a grown-ass man. So let's not even start these narratives. That shit would be weak to me, bro. Like, nah. No. We just dropped the video on Earl Spence. And with no excuses about his eye or whatever, I don't want to hear shit about Jamal Charlo drinking. Ain't nobody making him drink. I don't want to hear shit about Jamal Charlo. His mentality wasn't right. Didn't nobody ask him to change his mentality? Didn't nobody tell him to start feeling the money and shit? Start popping off shit, you know, start getting arrogant and shit. You know, knocking people's phones out their hands and shit. Trying to slap up on boxers or run up on boxers, trying to fight people at fights and shit. On fights that ain't even his fight. Didn't nobody ask him to do none of that shit. He did all that shit. He made his choices. If those choices come back to hurt him in the Canelo fight, boo-hoo. If they don't come back to hurt him in the Canelo fight and he washes Canelo, all right, cool, bro. You showed you was on a whole nother level. Congrats. Who I'm picking to win that fight if it happened, man, I don't know. Make the fight, please. Make the fight, please. Let's watch their camps. Let's see their mentalities. Let's watch their interviews. Let's break it all down. Let's pick. May the best man win. But that's who I think is going to be, y'all, to be honest with y'all. So my top 2 candidates, who I believe Canelo Alvarez is going to fight on May 7th, Cinco de Mayo, I think it's going to be Joe Smith Jr. or Jamal Charlo. And quite frankly, I'm leaning towards Jamal Charlo because of the business behind it. He loved that money that PBC just gave him. They rolled out the red carpet for his ass. They rolled out the red carpet for his ass. They'll put that shit on pay-per-view. They'll shell out more cash than I believe Top Rank is willing to. Because Bob Arum knows that it's a high likelihood Joe Smith Jr. will beat Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez will beat Joe Smith Jr. And I don't know if he wants to give away his WBO belt like that. If he going to give it away, I believe he'd probably give it away Joe Smith versus Artur Beterbiev or some shit, in-house unification fight where he get to keep all his money. You know Bob Arum love his money. So I think, in my opinion, we probably going to get Canelo Alvarez versus Jamal Charlo next, which is a great fight, which is a fight that no one should be criticizing or making excuses for. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Who is Canelo fighting next? My vote, Jamal Charlo. I know some people saying that they ain't negotiating. I know Eddie Reynoso said they ain't negotiating. But damn it, they said Caleb Plant was off too. And that shit ended up happening. So until I see him announce somebody else, I believe we going to see Canelo Alvarez versus Jamal Charlo at 168 pounds for all of Canelo's belts come Cinco de Mayo weekend. Damn, that's going to be a good-ass fight. Hopefully they give us a good card on it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Comment down below, smash the like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, turn on your notifications. Follow me on Twitter at KOBoxing86TV. If you got a breakdown or a prediction you want me to do, knockoutboxing86@yahoo.com is the email address. Live shows, Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. We discuss the hottest topics in boxing. Live shows Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. We break down and we predict all the upcoming fights for that weekend. And then live shows Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time with KQKC Boxing Network. He and I recap all the action from that weekend. And we also discuss the hottest topics, man. So y'all come check out our live shows. They fun, they interactive, and we always get it popping. But I appreciate y'all watching the video. Enjoy the rest of your day. And with that, we out of here. Peace, y'all.